Hi, this is Andy Mann, Instructional Technology Consultant at Muskegon Area ISD, and I wanted to introduce you to Prezi. And there's been some changes since the old version of Prezi, so if you're completely new to it, well, that's great. Maybe it won't be as confusing to you, but I'll try to show you the steps. So to start with, you have created an account in Prezi. Now the default setting for the account, all your Prezis are public, and there are a couple of other settings in Prezi that you don't get. Down on the bottom when you create your account, there's a small little text that says education. I think it says K-12 higher ed, and you can apply to upgrade to an education account. That education account will give you some additional rights. They will email you to confirm who you are. You validate you're an educator, and voila, you now have updated rights. Yay! So I've already done that. Let's see what we can do here. So I'm going to say a new Prezi. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to tell you about Infuse Learning. And I could describe it and click Create My New Prezi. Now, when I go to create this Prezi, I'm going to have some template options when I begin. I can start with a blank one, or I have 40 different templates down here that I can use. For a beginner, you may find it's easier to start with one of these templates to work your way around. For mine today, I'm going to just start with this blank one and say choose it. It gives me a little bit of information here that says there are some new changes in here. A cleaner interface, 40 layouts, scalable symbols. Or if I don't want the new look, you can click this. They'll leave the old look back for the rest of the year until January 1st. I'm going to try the new look and we'll see how it works. So I'll go ahead and click continue. And the first thing I see is this big plus symbol right in the middle. It says, what do I want to do? Well, I'm going to click plus because it seems to make sense. And I'm going to place my text right here in the middle. Notice that it gives me these 4 choices. It says that I can have a frame, I can have this circle, I can put in an image right here, or I can have a YouTube video. Now I'm going to go ahead and start with a frame, and up here it has a place for my text. So when I click up here, click to add my text at the top, it gives me a spot for it. I'm going to type in Infuse Learning. And I'm going to make this a title. Now I can make it subtext or a body, and it just changes the line thickness. It gives me some standards. I also have some settings over here where I can make my text bigger or smaller, and I can also change my color of my text, things like that. And there's a little arrow here that lets me do bullets and alignment and things along those lines. So when I click outside, there wasn't a save, it just put it in there. Now one thing to know is that when I click on this, I get this funny little zebra tool, they call it. And the zebra tool allows me to grab the outside of it and roll it. A lot of times in Prezi, people like things to look sort of off kilter. It also allows me to grab the donut part of the ring and drag it larger and smaller. So if I wanted it really big, I can do that, and I can grab it. I can adjust the size. Okay, so I can grab it, move it around, grab it in the middle where the hand is, and I can change the placement. Okay, I'll click off of it so we can see what that looks like. Now I'm rolling my mouse to move up or down. Now in this sort of unlike PowerPoint where you think linearly, like okay, what's on slide 2, what's on slide 3. In Prezi, you can sort of randomly just put your ideas down, and then when you're finished, you can link them together. Up here where the little plus symbol is where I can add different frames. Now you'll notice that I have these 4 kinds of frames. I can have an invisible frame where it just takes me to this information. I can draw a circle or a rectangle frame. So I have some choices. If I want it to look more PowerPoint-like, I can say, well, let me draw a rectangle frame. I click and hold. I draw a rectangle frame, and when I let up, I now have a frame that I can put some information into. I double click in the frame and now I can type. This is a student response system. And I can reposition this, I can resize it, I can grab it and move it around inside my frame. Sometimes these tools are a little bit, you click and like, okay, what was I doing here? How did I get that? But usually you can figure it out. You know, it's pretty intuitive. So I can continue this process and build some more. Now, the slide that I have a lot of images that I would like to put into here because I'm going to sort of show you some steps. So I'm going to click the Images button, and it says From a File, and I'm going to go out to my computer and find some images that I just have taken using Snagit, and here they are. And I have these images. Now my question is, can I take more than one image at once? So I'm going to hold down the Control key and try taking a few images in at the same time. Matter of fact, I think I'm just going to make these in the detailed list by the date modified and put them in the order that I sort of grab these. So we'll choose here and I'll say save, and voila, now I have some images in, and I can now start to move these images around my screen. And I'm going to roll my mouse wheel out. It's really nice to use a mouse wheel with this. And now I can start to build this. Infuse learning. Now as I'm working, I don't know if you can see it, but I have this little helper. It says it's easy to move objects or delete. It says I can click on them. I can draw a little selection rectangle around them, and then I can move them as a group. So it must have realized I was moving them one at a time, so it's giving me this little help. So it says Shift plus drag, it allows me to grab a group and then click in the middle and move them around. I like that when they give me these little helps like this. So I'll close the help and I'll try that. I'll hold down Shift and drag. That gives me a selection box. Now I can move these all as a group. Isn't that cool? Now I can adjust those, and then as I'm building this, the next step to show you is that if you want to link these together. Now I'm going to sit here and I'm going to come over here to say edit my path, because I have a little path that I want to use. So in my path I'll click edit my path, and I go from 1 to 2, and then from 2 I'd like to click here and I want to go up to number 3. I zoomed in. I don't need to do that yet. So I'll say I'll zoom back out. So I want to now go from 2 to 3, so I'll just roll my mouse up here to number 3 and click on number 3. It puts a little thumbnail over here. Then I want to go over to number 4, and then I want to go to number 5. Next I'm going to talk over here about the teacher login, so I'll jump down here to this one, and then I'm going to talk about the quick assessment, and then I'm going to talk here, and I'm going to finish with a YouTube video, but I don't have the YouTube video back here, so I'll go ahead and say that I'm done. It says click on any object, and there's a little done button up here in the corner. I wanted to still put in a YouTube video, and it even tells me here the order. Isn't that cool? And if I want to rearrange this order, I can come over here just like in PowerPoint, and I can click and rearrange the order. Very intuitive. If I say, you know, I'd love to be able to show a YouTube video, and I can zoom out, this canvas grows to whatever size you want. And I can move things around just by clicking on them and moving them around. But I'm going to insert a YouTube video. Now I've already queued up that YouTube video in YouTube. So I open up the YouTube video, open up the page, and I'm going to come over here to my share button, and down into share I'm going to copy that link. So I'm going to just copy that link. Then back in my Prezi, I'm going to go over to where it says media, select from YouTube, paste in the video clip that I have right here from YouTube, say insert, and here's my YouTube video ready to be placed somewhere in my screen. And like any media, I can make it smaller or larger. I can say, you know, I sort of like that size right there. And now if I want to add this to my path, I will continue to edit the path and say, you know, after you get done with number 8, I'd like you to go over to number 9 here, and then let's finish back at the beginning where we started. Put the title back in. I'll say done. Now let's see what some options are for being able to share this. One thing that I can do is, this is a collaborative environment, sort of like Google Docs. I can actually invite other people to be co-editors with me. I can also come down to the share button right down here. It gives me a link that I can send to somebody. So I could copy that link and use that inside my blog as a link to my Prezi. I'll go ahead and copy that right now and close that window. If I want to see what the presentation is going to look like, over here there's a button on the left side that says Present. I'm going to arrow through my presentation by clicking the right arrow button, or down here on the bottom, it's hard to see, but there's a left and right arrow that will walk me through it. There's also a button that says Exit Full Screen, and I can set timers if I want it to run automatically, 4, 10, or 20 seconds per slide or per image. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, and as I'm walking through this, I'm right arrowing, and I can go through my presentation. The YouTube comes up, I'll go back through, and I can do it again. It started somewhere other than the first slide because I was testing it a minute ago. But I can go through my presentation and say start it back from the beginning. Anytime I'm left sort of viewed out and I want to go back where I can see the entire screen at once, if I move my mouse to the right, there's a little house. I click on that. That zooms me back to sort of the full screen view. This would be a nice screenshot to put inside your presentation, and then either link this screenshot or link out using add it as a separate link. But I do want to see a screenshot, and I want to be able to see that you were able to meet the requirements with a YouTube video and some images and text, and that you have a path. Now I say, okay, I'm done with this. I want to exit it. I want to go back to my home screen. There's a Save and Close This Presentation up on the right corner. I click that. That exits the Prezi. And it takes me back into my my dashboard. Now here it shows me, I could go My Prezis. It shows me this one Prezi here, and I want to show you a couple of the controls that you'll see on this screen that you might not notice. One of the things that you can do on here is I can edit it. That takes you back to continue to work on it. So if you didn't finish it, you can go back to it. You also have a share button. We saw that earlier. So it gives me a link here that I could paste in. I also have an option to embed it. And people who know me know how much I like embedding. So I have an option up here that says Embed. And here's my embed code. Now Prezi does take a little, its engine is a little bit different, so sometimes the embeds may not work right, but we certainly could try it. So if I wanted to embed this, I could have an option to say let the viewers pan and zoom freely, or constrain them to only forward and backward steps, depending on how much you want. You can also adjust the size. Maybe you're putting it in your blog, and 550 pixels wide maybe is too large for your blog, and maybe you want to reduce this to size. I'm going to try 400 by 300. We'll see how it looks. And you may have to refresh the embed code, so I toggled off of it and came back to it. It looks like I now see 400 in here, and I'll copy this embed code, right click and copy it, or click the copy code to clipboard. Now let's see what happens if it's going to work. I'm going to change my view over to a different tab where I have my 21 Things blog open. I'm going to add a new post. I'm going to make sure that instead of in the visual mode, I'm in the HTML mode. And I'm going to click in here and I'm going to paste in. I right click and I pasted in all of this code. Well, let's find out. I'll click Publish. I could have done a preview. I will click my name up here in the corner, And if it works right, here it is, start the Prezi. Isn't that great? I can click Start Prezi, and it will walk me through my Prezi. It says click and drag to explore, and so this is going to my Prezi out on my Prezi site, and I can now go through step by step. I'll restart it. Or I can hit the full screen. The Prezi comes up the full screen, and I can go through step by step. Looks like it didn't embed right. Looks like it was going to, but maybe we need to skip the embedding. So let's go back and copy that link. And notice it's still loading, so maybe I'm just being impatient. Okay, that is what a lot of us are. So I'll go ahead and go back and get the other link. Let's find out. So I'm going to come back over to my Prezi site, and I'm going to go back to my viewing, and I'm going to just copy that URL and click copy. Then I'm going to go back to my site here, and let me go back, and I'll do a new blog post. So I'll say new post, add a new post, and say Prezi. I'll go back to my visual mode. Look at my Prezi. And then I'll take this and make that a hyperlink. So I'll come up here to the little link tool. I'll paste in the link. I'll always say open it in a new window. I've talked about that. Say insert. It changes it to a hyperlink. I'm going to go ahead and say publish. Then if this worked, I'll go up to my name in the corner. And here it says look at my Prezi. Oh, it looks like the infused learning might be there now. But I'll click this link right here, and voila, it takes me to my Prezi, infused learning, and it's loading, and I can go through step by step and learn about infused learning, this cool student response system that is currently free that you absolutely want to check out. Okay, so that's Prezi 101. I hope you've enjoyed it and have learned a couple of tips, and you can go and start. I do want to, before I just leave this, just let me tell you that under the Learn button in Prezi, they have some wonderful video clips, getting started in seconds. They do use the old Prezi tool in a lot of their tutorials, which is this circle, but you'll still be able to figure it out even if you learn it using their old tool. They also talk about a manual, and they go you through these little cheat sheets. So give Prezi a start. I think you'll absolutely love it. People are usually in one camp or the other. They either absolutely love it or they feel like it's a little bit too ADD and they don't like it. So you're probably in one of those camps. But give it a go, and I look forward to checking your Prezis out.